Okay guys, 5th grade math, here we go. Today our I can statement is I can multiply whole numbers by decimals. That is what I'm doing today. I can multiply whole numbers by decimals using models and the algorithm. Alright, that's what we're going to focus on today. Okay, so in your journal on page 33, you have glued in this picture here. Okay, it says model 3 times 13 hundredths. Alright? So I want to multiply 3 times 13 hundredths. We learned that multiplication is repeated addition. Very good. Repeated addition, right? So we also know that this multiplication sign means 3 groups of 13 hundredths, correct? Yes. Okay, so let's look at this from a model perspective. What does each one of these boxes represent? 100. And how many do I need? 1300. But I need 3 groups of 1300. So everybody take one of your color pencils. And I want you to count 1300. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And then shade them in with that color pencil that you have. That one color. Shade that one, using that one color. And I'll put factor 1. I don't need the product. This paper has a mistake on it. The 2 colors I'm using are this color and this color. So I will shade in 13 hundredths. So that's one group of 13 hundredths, correct? But in my problem, how many groups do I need? I need 3 groups of 1300. So now, take your second color, and shade in 13 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. With your second color, shade in 13 more. How many groups do I have so far? 2. How many do I need? 3. So go back to your original color. Go back to your original color and shade in how many more? 13 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So now I have shaded in 3 groups of 1300s. Would you agree? Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So I want to find out how much is shaded. How do I find out how much is shaded? What do I need to do now? Count them. Count how many is shaded. Well, how much is in each column? 10. So that's 10, 20, 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I have 39 shaded, but it's not 39, it's 39, what is each one worth? 39 hundredths is my answer. Does that make sense? Yeah, that's the model, okay? So on Mountain Math, when it says use a model to represent, that's what it's really asking you to do, but I like using the algorithm, okay? But I need everyone to understand this is how you do the model, okay? So that's 13 hundredths. Now look down here at the bottom. That word equation. This is the algorithm that you need to know as well. So we have 2 ways of doing it. We have the model and the algorithm, okay? Over here next to the side of that paper, I want you to write this word. Write these 2 words. Repeated addition. Right next to where you glued it in, write repeated addition, because multiplication is repeated addition, right? So write that repeated addition for me. Let's do repeated addition first. So 3 times 13 hundredths. What am I adding? What am I adding? 3 groups of 13 hundredths. What am I adding? 13 hundredths. How many times? 3 times. So let's write that here. 13 hundredths plus 13 hundredths plus 1300ths. Drop my decimal and add those up and tell me what you get. What do we get? 39 what? Hundredths. Does that match my model?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, now let's do the algorithm, okay? The algorithm. So I want to show you a different problem. Down here, 4/10 times 5/10. Okay, 4/10 times 5/10. All right, the algorithm here. So this first question says 2 digits after the decimal. Do you see 2 digits after the decimal here? Yes? Yeah, in the first line, the 4 is behind the decimal. That's one number. In the second line, the 5 is behind the decimal. That's two numbers. So there are 2 total behind the decimal. Okay? So let's multiply that out like we normally would, using the algorithm. Where would we start? 5 times 4, which is 20. And then 5 times 0
is 0
plus 2
7.
is
Wait.
5 times 0 is 0. 0 plus 2 is 2. Okay, so I have a 0 at the end. 0 times 4, 0 times 0. Now we add them all up. 0 to 0. Now, the second sentence says the product should have blank digits after the decimal. How many places behind the decimal should I have? 2, because the same number in your question has to match the number in your answer. So where should the decimal be in this question? In the answer? Before the 2. Very good. Okay? Alright? So let's do that over here. Let's take 1300ths and multiply it by 3. Right next to repeated addition. Multiply 13 times 3 real quick and tell me what you get. 39, right? Because 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 1 is 3. How many places are behind the decimal in my problem? 2. So how many should be behind the decimal in my answer? 2. So where should the decimal be?
After the 3.
Before the 3. Does that match my model?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay? Yes, sir.
So we move it to the left?
We move, yes, exactly. Yes, sir. We go to the left. We start here, and we move 2 places. 1, 2. That's exactly what we do, just like we did our homework last night. Okay? Alright, good job. Okay, now, I want to pull your attention to a different presentation. Alright, so on the left side of your journal, you have the paper you cut and glued in. Today's lesson, I can multiply decimals with product to the hundredths using models and pictures. We just did that. And I can use my understanding of place value and operation to solve for product using decimal to the hundredths, including money. That's what we're doing this week. So in your journal, on the left-hand side, you have this picture here. Find this picture. So it says 2100ths times 3. That means 3 groups of 2100ths, right? So look at my modeling with 100 blocks steps. Number 1, it says take your decimal number, your first factor, that's 2300ths, and shade in that many squares of your hundredths block. So how many squares did I shade in first? 21. How many times did I do it? 3 times. Okay? I do it as many times as the second factor. My second factor is a 3. So I need 3 groups of 2100ths. Count up your boxes, and that's how many hundredths you have. Well, let's count all my boxes. On your paper, count your boxes. Each column is how much? 10. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. 1, 2, 3. Does it match? Yes. But I have 63 out of how many? So 63 hundredths is what I have. And then I write it in proper decimal form is right there. Okay? So 21 hundredths is this shaded part. 21 hundredths is this middle shaded part, and 21 hundredths is that shaded part. Does that make sense, everyone?
Yep.
Okay. So let's look at repeated addition. How would I do repeated addition of 21 hundredths times 3? Very good. And if I add all those 3 up, what do I get? 63 hundredths. I want to add the algorithm. So on your paper right here next to this one, Let's add the algorithm in there. Let's take 2100ths and multiply it by 3. How many decimal places do I have in the question?
2.
2. So how many should be my answer?
2.
2. So go ahead and do the math. What is 3 times 1?
63.
3. What is 3 times 2? 6. How many places behind the decimal? 2. 1, 2. My answer is 63 hundredths. Does it match my model?
Yes.
Absolutely. So far so good? Alright, now at the bottom you're going to have a chance to try this. So pick up your 2 color pencils. This first problem up here, 1800 times 4. That means I need 4 groups of.
18.
So take your first color pencil, take your first color and shade in 18 of these squares. Shade in 18 of those squares. That's one color. How many times do I need to do that?
4.
Now change your colors and shade in 18 more. That's 2 times. Change your color. Go back to original color. 18 more. And then the 4th time. Now I have 4 groups shaded. How do I find my answer? Count the total. Count how many I have shaded all together. I will count by 10 because each rod is worth 10. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 172. My answer is 72 out of 100. Did that make sense? Pretty simple, right? It's a lot of shading, isn't it? Okay? Repeated addition. What would repeated addition look like? 1800s plus 1800s plus 1800s. 4 times, right? Add them up. 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8, or 8 times 4 is 32. Carry the 3. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Drop my decimal. Does that match my model?
Yes.
Yes. And the last thing I want to do is the algorithm. 8 times 3?
4.
I'm sorry, 4. I apologize. 8 times 4? 32. 4 times 1? Plus 3? 7. How many places behind the decimal? 2. So 1, 2. Does that match my model and then repeat addition? So my answer is 72 hundredths. So far so good, right? Okay. I want you to do number 2 the same way. Shade in 23 hundredths. How many times? 3 times, and tell me what you get, and then do repeated addition and the algorithm. Alright, if I shade in 3 groups of 23, how many do I have shaded in?
69.
69 hundredths. Good. If I add repeated addition, 23 hundredths plus 23 hundredths plus 23 hundredths, what do I have?
69.
69 hundredths. If I do the algorithm, 3 times 3, 9, 3 times 2, 6. How many places behind the decimal? 2. 1, 2. The answer is?
69.
Does it match?
Yes.
Absolutely. Okay, good. Alright. Last problem. The bottom of your paper, you have this problem. Carly has 6 apples, each weighing 38 hundredths pounds. How much do all of her apples weigh together? I'm looking for how many groups of what?
38. Wait,
6 groups of
38.
38 hundredths. So how many times do I have to shade in 38 hundredths?
6.
That's a lot. Okay, so watch what happens when I do that. If I shade in 10, 20, 30, 8, there's 1 time. And I shade it in again, that's 10, 20, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38. There's 2 times, and I shade it again, 10, 20, 30, 32, 33, 34, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38. What happened? I went to the other square, didn't I?
Yes.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. That just means I have 1 hole shaded, right?
Yes.
Okay? And then I do it again. 10, 20, 30, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 738. Then I shade it again. 10, 20, 30. 38. That's 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 5 groups. I need 1 more group. 10, 20, 30. 8. Look how much I have shaded. Okay? Repeated addition would be 38 hundredths. How many times?
6.
That's a lot, isn't it?
Do we have to shade it in?
Yeah, you'll shade in 38 hundredths 6 times. So how much do I have shaded in my picture down here? I have how many hole? 1, 2 hole, and 26 hundredths shaded. 2 hole and 26 hundredths. That's a lot of shading, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right? If I do the repeated addition, 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 is I have 48. I'm sorry. 22 and 28 hundredths shaded. Carry the 4. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18 plus 4 is 22. So 228 hundredths, 2 and 28 hundredths shaded. That matches my model, right? Yes, does 2 and 28 hundredths match my model? Yeah. Now what's the algorithm? 38 hundredths times 6. I start with 6 times 8. 48. 6 times 3. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. How many places behind the decimal in my question, class? 2. So how many do I need in my answer? 2. 1, 2, decimal. Which one of these ways is the shortest or the fastest? The algorithm, right? Okay. But you have to know how to do this coloring. Okay. Is it okay to use more than 1 hole?
Yes.
Sometimes you're going to need to go more than 1 hole. That's okay. This is 1 hole, 2 hole, and 28 are shaded out of 100. 2 and 28 hundredths. Does that make sense, everyone? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Now what I need you... Yes, ma'am?
I was still shading whenever you did all that.
Oh, okay. Alright, so this is what I want you to do now. Once you are done shading, take out your math book and open it to page 115.